Hello there. So, I have a little interesting fact for you. So, in 2019, the turnover rate for all industries was 3.7%, but the turnover rate for the restaurant and hospitality industries was 74.9% in 2018. This is a very high turnover rate, and it can cause issues for the business such as overall customer dissatisfaction because you have so many new employees all the time. They're not all on the same page, excuse me, and it just creates a dysfunctional unit. And then this can lead to miscommunication in the restaurant. It can also lead to just a lack of unity within the restaurant because it's such a tight group and so many people are working together to achieve the same goals. And when you have constant inflow of new employees, it's hard to address those goals and get them known. So today I'm going to discuss with you about how soft skills can be used to lessen the harmful effects of turnover in restaurants. Restaurants can utilize soft skills in the way they hire employees, train employees, and treat current employees. Since turnover is inevitable, let's begin by discussing how screening for desired soft skills in the hiring process can help businesses. In an interview with a manager at a casual fine dining restaurant, she states that the three most important traits she looks for when hiring a new employee are the way they dress, the way they hold themselves, the way they present themselves, as in like how they would present themselves at a table if they were a server. And then she also looks for their personality, whether it will mesh well with the current set of employees or whether it won't mesh well. And then she also looks for the initiative, as in like if they were serving and they saw someone else's food was up, that they would pick up that plate and go run it to the table real quick. And if that table needed ketchup, needed salt and pepper, needed a steak knife, they would make sure that they had that and not just worry about their section, but worry about the group as a whole. Restaurants should look for these specific traits, and they should also look for hiring employees who possess strong communication skills, since communication is the backbone of the restaurant. It's the cornerstone of everything done in the business. It's communicating between customer and server, server and kitchen, kitchen to owner. On all levels of the restaurant, communication is important. In a study that seeks to identify and list the important soft skills for hospitality managers, the highest scoring competencies were turning a negative situation into a positive and learning situation, handling objection, and seeing the big picture as well as the details. And I included that graph right here for you. As you can see, turns negative situations into a positive / learning is the highest one by far. But that's mainly because of scaling on this, so it's actually not that low. But the people that are hired by the restaurant are representatives of the business's values and beliefs. So restaurants need to look for people who represent what they want to sell, whether it's food, obviously, drinks. They want to sell that, and then they also want to sell the atmosphere of the restaurant so they can get those niche customers, those niche markets. Another way to make turnover a restaurant's greatest ally is by creating a work environment that promotes question asking. When training employees, make sure questions are easy to ask because asking questions can cause anxiety for employees. There's many times where you go into a kitchen and the way they run the kitchen is more shouty and it's like who can talk the loudest, who can yell the loudest to get things done. That is not the way a restaurant should be run. It should be run with calmness because there's many personalities within the restaurant and they all handle high stress scenarios differently. So when someone is yelling or getting in a shouting match in the restaurant, the best thing to do is politely say, hey, we don't do that around here. I mean, I know it's a high stress situation, but you need to have the awareness and the confidence in yourself to be able to tone that down. Providing employees with all the resources and needed information for them to succeed is needed to promote question asking. So you can have like a library of recipes for current servers or training servers to look over so they can know what's all in the product they're selling. You can also have like little wine tastings so the servers know their house Chardonnay or their house Cabernet, so they're able to frequently explain that and answer like questions asked by customers. An important way to get all of these informations is a pre-shift meeting. And pre-shift meetings are valuable because they encourage question asking, they help make sure everyone is on the same page, and it could be used as like a method of rallying the troops before a very busy shift. And they're very not inexpensive, so with a pre-shift meeting you could probably just do about 30 minutes before the shift, so overall it's just costing you an hour a week, which does seem like a lot in the moment, but excuse me, not an hour a week, I'm sorry. It would cost you about 3 hours a week, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it could help a lot too when it comes to making sure everyone's on the same page, making sure questions can be asked back and forth between the owner, the kitchen staff, and the restaurant, and the servers. Which leads me to my last method of using soft skills to help turnover is treating the current employees you have with respect. Restaurants should work hard to keep the good employees they have. That's the easiest way of preventing turnover. Keep the employees you have. This is hard to do because many restaurant jobs are not considered to be careers. I work at a restaurant myself, and I don't consider it my career, but I've been there for 5 years, and so I'm one of the longest tenured people at that restaurant. So owners and managers can keep employees happy by investing in them, acknowledging them, and by awarding longevity. So investing in your employees could be similar to like that pre-shift meeting I was talking about, making sure they're caught up on their wine knowledge, their menu knowledge. And another way is by acknowledging them. If they get a good review by a customer, if they end up being getting tipped well, or if they're like really stepping it up, you could really just say, hey, you're doing a good job, and I've noticed that you're taking time and the effort and putting in the work in this project. And by awarding longevity. So employees who have been in the restaurant for a long time could have more responsibility on the employees, such as training new staff, like an old server training a new server, or an old kitchen mate training a new kitchen mate. And then it just helps the current employee feel like they're important, like they matter in the restaurant, and that their decisions and their responsibility and their decision making really means something to the restaurant. Managers can adjust their communication accordingly to figure out what ways motivates their employees the best, such as an employee who needs to be pushed a little more, just being on them, being like, hey, you need to get on this, you need to get on this. Or an employee who needs more like a laissez-faire approach, you can just leave back, let them do their work, and if they're doing something, point it out here and there, but make sure they're just doing a good job and communicate accordingly. And so employees who admire their boss will want to work harder for them, and bosses who admire their employees will want to work harder for their employees. Now that I have completed what I wanted to say, let's review. Overall, I've discussed some of the ways soft skills can be used to lessen the harsh effects high turnover has in the restaurant business. The methods provided were to screen potential employees for desired soft skills, to create an environment that encourages question asking, and to treat current employees with respect. I recommend that restaurants should treat current employees with respect and to learn how to communicate with them. The easiest way to eliminate turnover is to keep the employees you have there. Thank you very much for listening today.